looking for trouble, looking for potential targets of opportunity, and we're hoping our castle gets sieged, of course, because then we can get on a siege defense for this series. This is a good spot, probably. Ustakpol Castle is taken. So there's storms raging up in the north as Gotha army, and look at the lightning effects. It crashes, the light crashes on the hillside on the sea coast there, and then a few seconds later the sound kicks off. It's brilliant. There's a lot of things that Tale World's 12 out of 10 with Warsails. Now, we should probably start an episode, but I'm kind of waiting for some kind of trigger to it. Something like this. Right, this is all right. We can get our siege on here, our siege defense. We've been waiting for a siege defense. I don't think we'll attack yet. We've got a lot of low-level units, and let's start an episode here. Things are happening. Traveling to Turvey Castle. All right, let's start an episode. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, including Warsails. This early footage is courtesy of Tale Worlds. They let a half dozen, couple score, I don't know, a handful of content creators into a preview of Warsails here. We are providing it to you, our first playthrough here of the Nords, and we are doing some business here. We are deep in Vlandian territory. We've been at war with Vlandia for a while. We've got kind of an amalgamation of troops because we're not in the homeland. And I'm a little bit homesick. We've been in Vlandia now for an hour and a half, 2 hours. We've got this garage sale looking fella, but he's tough, right? We've got a bunch of goofy characters in this army. We just spent a bunch of money. I don't remember how much we had before, but we certainly had a lot more than 60,000. Maybe we had 150,000. We've been doing mercenary work for the Nords. Our character's starting to get stronger. Level 15 here for Vimy, our main character. We've got some specialized units, which at some point or other we will start to cover. We've got this guy, he's a surgeon. We've got a guy who covers our steward abilities. Vimy's basically a pound the table, charge, aggressive kind of warrior. And then he has a bunch of other counselors that essentially rein him in. They're his brains, and he's all brawn. Now, I don't want to attack right away, right? What my general rule of thumb for something like this is to let them engage and get worn down a little bit before we sneak in the castle. There's obviously no way we can defend against 1,000. We've got to weaken them a little bit here. So what I want to do is actually cause trouble and bring in some Vlandian forces here so we can continue to upgrade our army. Our army has about 40 units that need upgrading, Vlandian recruits, and we've got some levy crossbow. We need better troops if we're going to sneak inside the castle, because you can't really make an impact. Here we go. Can't really make an impact with 100 weak troops, right? We're going to lose troops sneaking in. The net. Oh, shit. Oh, damn. He broke off from the siege. So this is new. We're going to run, obviously. We can't fight 1,000. That's very interesting. That'll be exploitable. Yeah, exploitable, because of course you can just sort of deke the AI out of siege. He looks like he's returning right back to Ormondfard. On some respects, it's good strategy, right? Because he's not just going to sit there and siege while we just tear up his other castles, but it also means you know he can be deked and probably, anyways. He broke off from Ormondfard. It looks like he's going back, but now I wonder, we might have screwed this other Norse force up here. They just started sieging, and I don't see the other guy going to Ormondfard Castle. It should have lit up already. Indeed, there's the tracks. So don't tell the Nord King, but we kind of screwed things here. I'm going to actually try to draw him away. I figure if sieging a castle, oh shit, if sieging a castle got his attention. Look at this shit. This guy, oh, Dirt is here too. So we got some action. We got some action here. I gotta win this first battle decisively. This is interesting. As Gotha is being attacked, it looks like. So he's probably, or she is probably a dead man. And we might be a dead man, right? We've got to fight back-to-back forces. And Dirt is here. The king, the pompous king of the Vlandians. We've got more absolutely incredible light here to kill today. We're going to continue to do tactics. I'm trying to limit it to 6 divisions. Some guys are already overwhelmed by that. We're going to have consistently for a while anyways, we're going to have a completely raggedy 3rd division. Our 3rd division is where we're going to put our worst infantry. 1st, 3rd, and 6th is infantry. 4th and 5th is archers. And when we have cavalry, we have 1 cavalry. We will put them in the 2nd division. I thought we had more than 1 cavalry. Actually, you know what? I don't think we have any cavalry. I think I'm the cavalry. So send in the cavalry charge, right? I can beat it. The good news is that this guy has no chance to win. I think the AI has variability now to the engagement system. So in other words, they won't automatically run if they're 49% favorite. And I like that. I think I mentioned that before, that I think some variability to the AI's decisions is good. You know, because it creates action and it's human-like, right? Sometimes we're taking on opponents that are stronger than us. Of course, in our case here, it's a problem because we're just going to completely flatten any force that doesn't have a major, you know, that doesn't have, you know, a really good large army. I mean, this, if the power bar is switched, they might have a chance, but not when it looks like that. Now, I can't see. We'll just fire some javelins in here. Take a little scouting trip at this Vlandian force, and we need to be decisive here. So I'm going to be a little bit more cautious than I normally am. Damn, dude, your shield went flying. You're not going to be battling, but your shield might injure some of our troops. All right, we've got a bit of a ridge here. It's actually kind of a textbook. It's a shallow peekaboo ridge. Look at the throwing axes. I mean, their horses got shattered. Half of them got killed, and the other half got just raggedy shot to pieces. Man, that was nasty. It's going to be fun playing the Nords. Of course, we have this amalgamated army, right? We have Battanian units. We have a handful of sharpshooters, or at least, well, thank you, fellas. Or at least, you know, future Vlandian sharpshooters. We got some levy crossbow and stuff like that. We got to level up. We still have some Nords, but we actually got to get back to Nordland. One of the curiosities is, you know, when you go raiding, unless it's like really quick, your army is going to become an amalgamation, right? Because you're going to suffer losses. And then you've got to recruit troops, and it's not like there's Nord towns down here, right? So I hadn't really anticipated, you know, having an episode and a half where our army is this mixed. We will head back to Nordland. In fact, probably soon. What I'd really like to do is get a siege. If I get at least 1 siege defense, you know, successful or not, I guess if we lose, maybe we'll look for a better one. But 1 siege defense. And then we will head back and get some troops. In fact, you know what we need to do is we need to get a ship. We need to show you guys some ship action, go down to the harbor and buy the biggest yacht they have, right? That's what we're saving up our money for. Now, if you're curious what the heck I'm doing here, it's a reverse slope decline. They've got a lot of crossbow. They have a really strong ridge to defend, but they attacked us. So I'm not eager at all to charge over and get shot in the face by crossbow. They have 50 crossbow there. So all you do is just form this tight glob. They can't see any of our units. They're forced to come over that ridge, and as soon as they do, we're going to spread, open fire, and spray ammunition into their face. I think we'll, let's see, sergeants. I think we'll charge at this 6th division too. A couple of these divisions we can push up here kind of aggressive. I don't want these crossbow getting to the ridge and doing any damage, and if we charge them with skirmishers, it's going to be a very quick battle. We'll try to limit this battle. A lot of guys just auto-resolve. Now, that's the thing. If you auto-resolve this battle, I think you lose to Dirt next battle. I think 100% of the time. We may lose anyways, right? He's got twice the size of our army. And I didn't really see his army strength. I got to not get killed here. I didn't see the strength of his army, but if it's strong, we might be fucked anyways. But if we lose 40 or 50 troops here, especially frontline troops, then we lose, right? Then Dirt captures us. So part of this caution and that reverse slope decline defense there was brought to you by the next battle, right? Taking on the Vlandian king. And those are the kind of results we needed. All right, 44 upgrades. Man, the upgrades have been coming in thick. It helps, of course, that we have skirmishers. Battanian woodrunners are upgrading. Brigands are upgrading. Vlandian crossbow, hardened crossbow. Just a heap of deadly units are assembling. We're getting some nice loot here. Some legendary shit left and right. I don't know if it's legendary if you get it every battle. Maybe it's not legendary then, right? Just trying to heal a little bit here. I wish it was daylight too. It looks like it's going to be the middle of the night here. Dirt Dirt is on an energy drink. He wants to fight all night. So let's see what we can do here. What? Wait a minute. What perk did I just do? Okay, yeah, that's the right one. We will talk more about perks. Wait, combat movement speed. No, that's right. We want the extra damage. Combat movement speed, yes. Combat movement speed, no. And the difference basically is movement speed. Of course, your troops are moving fast. I think I either get confused or other people get confused. Combat movement speed, to me, means that's combat movement speed damage. That's the differentiator. That means they do more damage from the speed on the battlefield. In other words, anyways, let's not get too deep into the weeds there. I'm prone to doing that. I got a beautiful spot here. We're going to hold this right here. He had a lot of infantry and some cavalry, but it was mostly infantry. So I just looked over at the clock like it was going to actually say it. You know what time it is, right? It's killbox o'clock, right? It's killbox dirt time. We got a real shot to win this. We got a nice little moon. The night effects are spectacular. Like, I just want to roll out a nice picnic blanket and watch the stars. The game is unbelievably beautiful. Serious ASMR. And lots of infantry, and they are rushing up as if it's burgers for sale. These guys are very excited to get their grips on our army. Of course, they would be, right? We've been just rampaging through, cutting Vlandia in half. Nobody's been able to stop us so far. We did get captured earlier in this campaign. I think it was by looters, though, or forest bandits or something like that, but we haven't been captured by the Vlandians. They've been basically our vassals. All right, we've got good setups here. We can square the 6th Corps here. The cavalry's coming in hard, and our right flank is really, or our left flank, rather, is really vulnerable. The right flank, those guys can square, throwing weapons. They should do just fine against that cav charge. I don't think a single guy died there. Now they get killed by javelins. Now they're heading for our archers. You bastards. Keep off of our archers. Got to prioritize the cavalry. Once the cavalry's destroyed, this battle's over, right? I think. We've got lots of ranged units. I've got lots of skirmishers. That fucking guy was like grappling me, trying to hold me down so his friend could kill me. They're chasing after me. They got the right idea. I'm the guy on the battlefield they want to kill. If I go down right now, this battle's over, right? So I got to keep my character alive here. Doesn't mean I can't get the occasional stab in on guys. I just got to hold my shield up a lot, right? Especially around banner knights and stuff like that. So all we're doing here is menacing the enemy from behind with cavalry. That way they turn their backs to us. I've got an infantry division over here, actually 2. That's the 1st and 3rd. The 4th archers are over here on the enemy's right flank. We've got the 5th archers right up that hill. We got to keep moving them back too. The 6th Corps is over here dumping javelins. I can see throwing axes and javelins flying through the air. And the enemy could not be in a more prototypical, typical fishbowl. They literally look like a bunch of anchovies. Actually, as soon as I said that, they broke in every direction. And look at how bad a fix they are in. Man, that's how you die in Bannerlord, right? They are pinched between 3 forces. We're kind of menacing them with cavalry. And this battle is over. We are punishing Dirt Dirt's army. And pushing with the 4th and 6th. They're probably low on ammo. Let's squeeze the vice till their eyeballs pop out. Their troops are probably sick from getting spun around so hard. They basically got manipulated as bad as you can. They went to the used car lot and paid maximum price for a lemon. These guys got absolutely tooled. Now they're getting a little bit of kills here. There's the king. There goes the king. Man, they go down like a wet paper bag. It just crumpled. And this battle's over. I just looked up. The power bar is wildly lopsided. They got one of our companions and a few crossbow here. But man, was that a thrashing right there. And killbox, right? This is the strongest tactic, in my opinion. An open field tactic in Bannerlord. You just annihilate. That was a force much larger than us that was heavily favored. And we didn't just win. We obliterated it. They didn't have they didn't kill 20 troops. There's a little sliver of our power bar missing. And Dirt and Sons got blasted to the Stone Age. We had 8 casualties. That's how you do it right there. We had as many upgrades as casualties. I like that ratio. All kinds of perks. Vimi's becoming quite a battlefield beast here. I don't think we need to do a whole lot more open field battle with this army. You guys have kind of seen it. It's a destroyer of worlds, right? We have a good combination of NORD infantry, skirmishers, and then tough archers. This is not losing anytime soon. Now, what is this guy here? We're still exploring the units. This is a Sturgeon Marine, veteran shipman. Somebody told me that only the Nords get Marines. That's definitely not true. The difference is that all of the Nords fight well on boats. So that distinction, I'll make a guide at some point or other, but to be clear, that the point is that the Nords all have that little blue water thing, whereas the other kingdoms have one unit that has it. In other words, unless you have a specialized boat packed with those specialized Marines, you have disadvantages on the water versus the Nords. And get a save here after that battle. We've had a couple of, not crashes, but some weird things happen with graphics, so I'm just gonna lock off that nice little victory there. Now these guys are probably fucked, and I think I fucked them by pulling that army away from Ormondfard. I think they're probably going to get captured here. We get another save, and indeed, like right in front of us, somebody died. Well, it's a good thing this is just a test drive, because this would be an ignominious failure. Of course, the AI doesn't think anything at all about that, but you and I both know in the court of circumstantial law, I'm guilty. We pulled that army away from Ormondfard, and it led to the demise of that Nord force. They got smashed. All right, let's go get some troops here. We got to do a bunch of upgrades, and hopefully we can get a good siege defense. That Vlandian force looks like it's coming back down. Be a little bit, of course, before they begin the assault, but this is a good spot to gather up a huge army, right? We know the assault is coming, I guess, unless they break off again for that siege. We saw that earlier, but I think that was because my army started that siege and they menaced us. This is probably different. They've got siege weapons built. They're probably going to engage. So I think it makes sense here just to hoard a bunch of troops. This is a process we've been doing more and more, because generally when I've done tests, it does seem to show that the deserters, the deserter check that once every 24 hours seem to come from your worst troops. They have 950 troops there at Ormondfard. The Vlandians do. What's this guy doing? He's barreling in on us. The AI doesn't like it, of course, when you go to their when you go to their village and you're like, give me your sons and daughter, right? And we've seen it before. They've already engaged us a few times in this campaign when they had no chance to win. So I can't help but wonder what this guy's going to do here. This guy with the 100. Look at that.
Halt there.
Hots. We got a German Vlandian. Hots there. And again, they have absolutely no chance. So let's not stand on ceremony here. Let's just start blowing through these. One of the punishing things here is that the RTS mod does not work yet. Worse than that, though, not that that's a big crime. You console guys are like, shut the I never get to use it. All right, so what's hard, though, is that these kind of battles here, the way we're playing, if you auto-resolve, you lose 30 troops, right? The enemy has a decent force. They have cavalry. Actually, they don't have cavalry. Who shot me there? Like some perfect aimed crossbow bolt between the grasses. The AI has like 3 cavalry, 5 cavalry. We would lose a lot of troops, right? And then, of course, we're sort of back to square one. We're trying to get extra troops so that we can sneak into Ormondfard and make a defense, right? I would like the defender to have less than 700-800, right? 950 is what they're starting with. We'll let them get whittled down a little bit before we make our move. And we're going to lose troops, too. When you sneak into a castle or a city, depending on the perks you have, you lose like 15 to 30% of your troops. It's pretty painful. And those troops are gone forever. It's not like they're taking capture. They just vanish from the face of the earth. You never get them back as a prisoner. Now, this is just like the Dirt kill box 15 minutes ago. These troops have walked right into the maw. And they're all dead men. And there's an awful lot of recruits here. These Vlandians, at this stage, I would say are war-weary on the continent from our army only. I want to say we have 8 or 9 significant wins like this against Vlandian lords, right? If we weren't selling them for ransom because we want money, they wouldn't have any lords left, right? We would just be toting them around by a halter. And these guys kill box the clock. Their archers here are hapless, seasoned, safe seafarer. That must be their marine. just move through this really quickly. Let's get a siege defense on. Half you guys love siege defense. I love siege defense too. Another noble here. She goes running or he goes running. They never should. I'm telling myself that that was the noble who did that. Run, everybody, run! They had 7. They got 7 kills, and I bet most of them were recruits. Onward, right? Come with us, you German-speaking dipshit. I like Germans. See, I am German. My great-grandfather came from Germany, and F-E-I-N, Fien, was one of the names from my family tree. Not that any of you give a shit. Just know that I'm not making fun of Germans. All right. You hit 2 or 3 more villages here and see what this looks like. I'd like to have 160, 170 troops. Now, we're going to get deserters, and I've got to test it more thoroughly with Warsails. But with 1.32, when I was testing it recently, 99% of your deserters came from your weakest troops. So why does that matter? We're limited for troops here, right? We just lost 10. They're starting the assault, right? So we kind of got to get over there quick. Look at this, guys. Another guy. Is this another guy going to attack? We have double his number. It seems a little bit buggish. It seems like the AI is just tilted out. If you raid any village, they just automatically suicide their lords. Of course, players eventually will just... Oh, good, he broke off. I was going to say, we'll just abuse that. We'll just raid until their whole kingdom immolates themselves one at a time. Okay, beautiful. 169. So we're going to lose like 30 troops. 31 troops, it says, when we sneak in here. It's going to be a mix of troops. We'll lose some good troops, but that's going to leave us 125, 130 troops for the defense, right? Siege defense as a mercenary is very difficult. This is going to be a hard battle. You can tell from the power bar, right? They have that little tiny black sliver. That also means that the enemy has good troops here, and the garrison inside is ghetto. Now, obviously, we're going to augment it, but... we may have some recruits. In fact, I anticipate having quite a bit of recruits because when you sneak in, unlike the deserter check, a lot of those troops seem to come from your better troops. It's like they were the vanguard and took one for the team. So strap yourself in. We better get a drink of water here. It put me in the middle of nowhere. I see an awful lot of peasants in here. And this is the hardest stage here. I got to focus for a second. Bear with me. 6. Get those guys just out of the way. The units can get totally snarled on the stairs here. This castle, I think, only has 2 stairways down into this area here. Okay, we have 550. Let's put some archers on top of this roof and stretch other divisions out. The AI is going to help here a little bit. They will distract a little bit. Their militia will kind of shoot from the walls. But as usual, we're not using the walls here. We might use that back wall if the scenario calls for it. Maybe even that interior, that interior wall. We'll definitely use the roofs. And this is priority number 1, right? We've got to destroy this siege tower. Come on, baby. We got fire catapults over here too. There we go. Just 1 or 2 more of those. We've got quite a bit of siege here. They're lobbing rounds. I'm optimistic here, although guys are getting smoked right in front of me. It doesn't make me feel real comfortable standing here. These NORD units just getting immolated, and there's a good miss. Miss like that, right? That's in the handbook. If you're gonna miss, that's how you want to do it. The whole screen and the noble, they all just get sent to flaming hell. I'll have to look at our army here. Oh, hell yeah. Another just perfect shot. Explosion time. I've got a guy back there working too. What kind of catapult? Okay, he just has a regular catapult and they're just getting dropped left and right. Oh, shit. I actually wish he didn't destroy it because I was going to kill more troops. I don't think we can hit those guys. So, let's see. And maybe we can get 1 shot on the ram. I doubt we can destroy the ram, but we can try. Some of these catapults have awful line of sight. Like whoever was the engineer, you know, drank a 40, crumpled their paper bag up, and then started drawing diagrams for the engineers to put the catapult here. It can hit like 12% of the enemy forces. It's a horrible, horrible location. All the crenellations are in the wrong spot. I don't even think I can hit anything. That's as far as over. I didn't kill anything. So that catapult's effectively worthless. And holy slow, man, this is what happens when you have a low athleticism character. You know the good news? This will be the last battle in this campaign that we fight with low athleticism. Again, this campaign's not going to be 30 episodes, but This is painful. Probably especially for you guys. I have no way to speed this up. I'm just trudging along here, carrying my bomb. Damn, I don't have a target either. Let's see. I guess we try to make a throw on the guys at the gate. We've got to figure out a plan here. I'm going to throw a shit ton of rocks, right? We've got the rocks above the gatehouse here. And the reason I say my athleticism is about to go up is because we have a lot of focus points, and our learning level, you know, is through the roof. We're basically like an elite athlete before they started to perform. It had huge potential. We got more rocks here. Now we just have to put it into action, right? We got to start hitting the weights, eating that protein, get some occasional creatine, you know, make sure we get rest and all that kind of stuff. All the normal regimented shit that elite athletes would do. We're going to do all that shit, right? We're going to do some training, and this is your training, right? For throwing and athleticism, this is massive power leveling. Win or lose, this is going to be a highly profitable siege from that perspective. Even if we're captured, I'm okay with it, because I'm going to literally gain 50 to 100 throwing and athleticism skills, maybe more. And you know what? It already looks like he's moving faster, as if it's updating in real time. That could just be my imagination. Of course, we're not carrying the rock anymore. These guys are breaking down here. We're going to have to get some infantry over here. And beautiful. More fire catapults. Now we just got to protect this spot here so I can unload. There's 2 levels of siege, at least. The secret's out, right? Siege in the mercenary stage is by far the easiest way to power level everything, especially if you know what we're doing. And fortunately, we do, right? And you will too if you come by the channel. Either you're a veteran of the channel and you're already ripping it, or if you're new, you want to watch what we're doing here, right? Because this is not only, I think, the best way to defend siege, but it's a really potent way to power level your character. Where's my infantry? I got 40. All right, let's break a division. We need some guys here to help us clear this opening on this side here. I've got to be able to throw the rocks in the center gatehouse too. 38, 37. I thought for a second a Fiend Champ was going to light me up in the face. It's one of our guys. All right. Oh shit, look out, militia. We're going to hit you guys too. These should not be our troops, because our infantry's in a square by the gate, right? They're not dumb enough to charge into the murder holes, right? This is literally called like a murder hole. Why would you go in there, right? Don't go into the murder area, you dipshit militia. What's this shit? Why are there troops in here? I got like 2 Fiend Champs following me around, and there's Vlandians in here. What are they doing in here? And it doesn't show my throwing skill going up, but I promise you, we've gained 100 points this siege. Well, and athleticism. Now I got a guy here doing the fandango on the ladder. He's all tilted out. Oh shit, they have a lot coming through the gate. Even with all those rocks. What do we have? God, there's a lot of peasants. They're starting to build up on the walls. All of a sudden, we have a little bit of a crisis here. And of course, I can't tell who's who. We still don't have the little friendly icons above their heads. So you guys are suffering with me. The slightly blackish Vlandian troops, those are ours. I guess you can see the Nords. They got their flag above their square. There's so few shields in there, I just charged. I don't think, you know, and you have guys that don't have a shield. Squares aren't really a thing. They just get killed faster. Spread out, boys. They're starting to really jack up the archers on the rooftop to our left. This is starting to look rough. Hey, our slinger is doing his thing. He just fired his sling up at the troops on the walls. Beautiful. Sorry there, recruit. You are a recruit, though. We got some bloody fighting, and this is exactly what I was hoping for in this episode and in this campaign, right? Some tough, gritty battles. There's all kinds of carcasses and shields and weapons here by the front gate. The fighting is starting to get heavy over there, and those archers are going to get annihilated. The good news is keeping the enemy occupied, right? The enemy's basically trying to attack those guys before it proceeds. Maybe that buys us just a little bit of time here. We need the time, right? Because the enemy's still manifestly stronger than us. Whatever, the square. Let's break this square. Let's borrow a few. I see a few javelins. Maybe they can chuck them up at the enemy. I see 6 or 7 javelins still. There's a guy over there doing the fandango. He looks like he's stuck on the ladder. we get probationary firefighters that come in that we train that look like that sometimes on a ladder. They're all tilted out, fucking doing the heebie-jeebie because they're uncomfortable. Oh, shit. Charged. We got a problem here. This is a lot, and they have high-level troops in there. We need to get the skirmishers over here. God, there's recruits next to me. I guess charge. I got a fiend next to me here. Kill them, boys. Man, this is fucking gnarly. I don't have any backup behind this. We're gonna have to fall back to the archers if this doesn't hold. They are shooting them in the back, though. I see archers raking these guys. We can add our flames to it. There's all kinds of troops rallying on the wall, so there's more coming. Kill this guy. All right, good job, boys. Let's pull back. Get off these ramparts. Shit's on fire. Stay there. I'm starting to sweat. What is this guy doing at the gate? What the fuck you doing? Oh, you know what? That's the AI. There's your artificial imbecility. It's literally a recruit. He's just standing at the gate looking at all the bolts whizzing by his brain, and he just got smoked. Artificial imbecility. Oh shit, this is a lot of crossbow coming through. Maybe they might be routing. Charge, boys. No time for caution. There's some troops are coming in and some are charging. Let's hold this right side here. This is going to be our Alamo. Fuck, they're coming down the other side too. Charge there with the peasants. These guys might be routing. This looks like routing behavior. Get out. This is our, well, okay, it's your castle, Vlandia, but it's ours. We rightfully stole it. Oh shit, good shot on that one. You guys fucked him up. I think we got it. I just looked at the power bar. I like that kind of siege, right? You are watching, we'll do all the normal plugs here. You are watching Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to Bannerlord, dedicated to all things Bannerlord, including badass siege defenses like that. It's fucking great. Seems like every other campaign, you get 3 or 4 of those. All our guys are on their knees, either exhausted or relieved. Almost brings a tear to my eye. There's all this rubble and detritus. They do a magnificent job of the din and chaos of battle. There's guys strewn all about. 24 survivors, 24 hardy dudes here. That's all we had left. Like I said, you can hear it in my voice. I almost get a little emotional. Killed 500, and we take them all, right? There's nobody else here. Come with us, Vlandia. You're invited to give us huge sums of money, and look at this. This is incredible. In fact, 4383. I don't know if you call that fate, providence, or whatever you want to call it, but they have a bunch of Nords here that they must have taken prisoner, and it's exactly how many we needed to get to 126. That's almost eerie. Obviously, we're not playing with mods, we're not editing or anything like that. This is just a wild, incredible coincidence. Man. And how dreamy is that, right? Our army's banged up, our army's seriously injured, lots of dead, and we capture all the enemy forces, all their lords, and they restock our army full. They lay at our knees here all of their fine equipment. Just everything is a 5-digit number for value. And like I said, the word is out, right? If you learn to defend castle sieges, city sieges as a mercenary, I mean, we had 120 troops there, and we just got rich, right? We got it all. We got influence. We got chicks. We got laid. We got armor. We got prisoners. We got loot. We got prisoners to add to our army, right? Our army just got stronger. We get it all, right? And the influence is going to be paying off for a while, right? That kind of battle pays off for many days because you get so much influence, and they sort of pay you. It's almost like they pay you with promissory notes on influence. You don't get it paid all at once. They sort of pay you like you're a salaried employee or some shit. All right. Calm down. It's just a video game, but that was exhilarating. All right, let's see. What to do now? They took the castle here. We got a nice little invasion going on, and I forgot to mention this too, right? You also get perks. You get it all, right? We got, I didn't look super close, but look at this shit. We're at 200 athleticism all of a sudden, and Vimy just got power leveled, right? Power charged, supercharged very quickly. We're going to be a competent warrior fighting in the field. Now we just got to get him a savage battle axe. We actually found a savage battle axe, but I obviously haven't been using it. You got to survive with the shield first. The two-handed Vimy is coming, right? And he looks like a clown. He's got like the worst combination of armor possible. He really sort of looks like a circus actor or something like that. And I don't know what to do with all these perks. We're going to do that shit later. I don't want to waste too much of your time, and I'm excited, right? We're lugging, or maybe there's a bunch of horses drawing our carriage full of loot and money to Carbantheth here, and it's neutral, right? So I can take a deep breath. All of the troops get beer, and they get women. We're going to be a proper pirate captain. They might want to patch this roof here in the tavern. You might going to have mold there. That's how grungy Botania is. It just pours rain in the tavern. I think that's a graphical bug, probably. And look at this shit. This is beautiful. I tell you what, we'll trade you guys all in for a nice ship, right? 46,000. All right, let's explore. I have no experience doing the ships, right? That's not totally true. I looked for like 10 seconds. Look at this, too. We got a legendary Highland throwing axe. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the loot in the city. I was thinking for a second that was our loot. What's this? A serpentine helmet. There we go. Right now our dude is totally a costume character. We'll probably put his other helmet back on, but I might rock that helmet for a little bit. I mean, if you're gonna be eclectic, you might as well go all the way, right? There's no point in being half insane. You might as well be all the way. All right, so some decent loot here. We should sell a bunch of loot because I don't know what ships cost, right? I presume we could get one for 15,000. I saw like one or two ships on a short or something from Tail Worlds, 15,000. I've done just the tiniest bit of exploration with ships. I know you can upgrade everything from like the sails to the oars and things like that. And we're going to get into that now, but this is not your guide, right? This is exploration for somebody. Maybe you can't play the DLC, or maybe, of course, you're watching this before it's released. We did have a little bit early access to the DLC. So we're going to manage fleet. I think we can't call it fleet. We don't have any boats. So it takes us in here. All right. Got a bunch of different boats to choose from. 37,000. It says there's 9 ships. I don't know if that means there's only 9 ships or 9 different types of ships. Obviously, we're going to have to learn all this, right? There's all kinds of different ships. What I'm looking for is one that looks eclectic. There probably isn't one, but I'm looking for one that has like a big giant serpent at the front or something like that. I think you can add stuff like that. That's to be seen, right? I think you can literally add all kinds of custom art traits and stuff like that. I've actually heard you can name your ship. So you can have, and it appears in battle, the name of your ship. Tell me that's not badass, right? You can have the green gigantic dildo of doom. You can do all kinds of stuff with these ships. And right now I'm just sort of scanning. I want a fast boat that can carry a lot, and I don't know what most of this means. Crew capacity, cargo capacity. I'm looking at the top. It says we have 126 over 0. That must be the troops. So let's just buy a couple 3 ships here. We've got a lot of money, right? We got 250,000 gold. So let's just 126.60. We're gonna have to buy like 2 or 3 here. 60,000. You know what? It looks like they only have a total of 9 ships. So just like a car dealership, right? You go in, they don't have 50 of every model, right? They might have 7 of this one and 2 of that one and none of this one. So I think that's fair. 100 grand. They're expensive, right? That was 100,000 gold for our ships, and presumably we could get captured and they just go away, right? So I remember one of the developers said during the PR event, make sure you're buying ships that you can afford to lose, right? Because you can lose them pretty fast, right? You can get attacked and sacked and all kinds of shit. And these are some of the upgrades, and we're just scratching the surface, right? We can put. This is so fucking badass. It takes you down to the ship level. I mean, Tail World's cooked. This is fucking brilliant, right? To use the lingo of you young guys, it looks fantastic. And look at all this customization we can do. A lot of these say not available in this settlement. So Botania and or Carbantheth. Maybe, you know what? They probably haven't upgraded the shipyard here, right? I presume, I don't know yet, but I presume you can upgrade the building within your city so that your dock workers, your shipyard workers, can can, you know, do better ship updates. Maybe you get better ships too, right? So there's going to be a gigantic amount of stuff to learn. You know, we'll be doing guides, but I'm definitely going to leave a lot of the guides to guys like Strat Gaming Guide. You're going to hear me mention his name a lot, to be sure, to be 100% sure. Him and I have never talked about it. I barely know the guy, right? We've just had some friendly waves over the social media span. And I'm going to say, check out channels like his, check out so-and-so's channel. When I find content out there on Bannerlord that is superior, or at least is more sufficient for a certain cause than mine, that's what we're going to do. We're going to say, go here. I'm not going to make a bad imitation of content that's already out there, right? We're trying to we have our niche in Bannerlord on YouTube, and I'm going to stick to that largely. It doesn't mean that I won't talk about the ship upgrades at all. I'm not going to completely ignore it, but I'm going to leave the major guides mostly to the experts. Of course, you guys can change my mind. I guess if you just flood me with comments and requests, I want to do this, I want to see this from you, I don't want to go to other YouTube channels. I guess you guys can say that shit, but do you really want a guy who has a boat speed of 1 giving you advice? Evidently, we didn't do our homework here, which translates loosely to I definitely didn't do my homework. We're massively overburdened. It looks like we have the wrong draft type. We've done a bunch of shit wrong here. Now, I see the wind direction. I like that, right? It's coming from the south. I think that's what that means. But we're going to trudge our way, and I mean trudge our way to this Viking island. I want to go get a bunch of Nords. I think we're going to edit here. You guys don't need to see this. Obviously, we're going to make our way there. If we get attacked, what I will do is I will do some editing. It looks like there's a storm there. I guess we could get sunk by a storm or something like that, but you guys don't need to see this. Obviously, we're showing our ignorance here, right? Which I do on a regular basis. We must have needed either to, part of the problem is we have so much loot. We were too victorious, right? Victim of our own success here. We have so much loot and goods that it's dragging our boat down, and we're just, God, that is rad. We're just, well, yeah, you get the point. We'll do a little bit of editing here, and the next time you see us, we'll be at that Viking island. A whole lot out there. We saw, several different little trading frigates. We saw one force of I was going to say sturgeons, Nords, and oh no, right? Look at what's happening to the Nords, running from everybody. Now they're not moving. That means they're captured, and this has been a theme, and it's a little bit ominous. The Nords have been getting blasted in this campaign. That's the easiest way to put it. They're losing. They very briefly took a castle or two, but they lost Savfk, and I wonder, well, we'll talk about it more when there's more time. Let's check out this island port here, Savfk. There's a big storm raging here. I wonder if we can sail over there. I don't think you can really interact outside of battle with the landscape, right? You can't just, sail over into the ocean and be like, observe sea conditions or something like that. That would be really cool if you could, but I don't think that's an option. Now, the Nords are really losing ground, and remember, they don't have cavalry, right? All of the battles in the game favor cavalry when it comes to AI auto-resolve, right? Which is part of the reason that Vlandia rolls it up. Now, our guy here is looking like quite the... he looks like the headsman at a bazaar or something like that. If you've never heard of a bazaar, I think that word is probably Middle Eastern in origin, or maybe even Turkish, but it basically means, a big trading market. I'll show my ignorance here. So these are the captain's position, right? And you just go through every once in a while, make sure you got the right people assigned. For the most part, Vimy here is going to be in charge of fashion and killing, right? Our guy here, I think he looks amazing. He looks about as strange a Bannerlord character as you've ever seen outside of an overhaul mod, but that's basically what this is. I think initially people were disappointed that the Nords weren't decked out in all kinds of gear, but it's pretty clear that Tail Worlds has saved a lot of the great stuff for the actual introduction of this mod, right? There's all kinds of new shit. Now, this is something we want. I'm not going to be the medicine guy very long, but I want that extra 30% hit point recovery after battle. This guy's going to be a meathead. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to spec him right now, but I do want that medicine skill so that he at least heals up after battle, right? Self-heals, gets a little extra hit points. This is going to be our scout, and I'm not really sure, honestly, right now. I mean, I guess I'm just going to leave it. Like, some decisions you just put off, right? It's better to put off because you can't take those decisions back. And we could fiddle around with these. So this is obviously going to be a steep learning curve. I'll just go over to Strat Gaming Guide. We'll learn all about how to use these perks, right? It makes sense that you would have some of these perks. We've got this Mariner guy. He's got all kinds of skills, but there is no slot for Mariner, right? We can't make him like our Admiral. Presumably, it only affects his ship that he's on in a battle. Now, evidently, we can repair our ships. That you can induce from that our ships suffer damage just by being in the water. So it reminds me of the analogy or acronym I hear a lot of times for boat, which stands for break out another 1,000. Now, if you've never heard of that one before, boats are expensive and they have all kinds of problems, and we have a serious overage of equipment here. So we're going to need more boats. It's interesting. It's a little bit of a conundrum. We basically have way too much shit. We're like a hoarder and not enough troops, right? We're a mercenary. We're not a vassal, right? So we can't put stuff in a city somewhere. Now this ship looks badass, and let's learn a little bit about these, right? The crew. All right, crew capacity. All right, so the first number is the minimum. The next number is the maximum on deck. Oh, cool. And the third number basically is you can have reserve troops beneath the deck. I guess the third number would be bigger if there was a below decks. So this ship does not have a below deck for reinforcements. If you don't know how that works in battle, we'll talk about that a little bit. Of course, you guys are probably exploring it, but in battle, how heavy a ship is. Travel speed. I know I want good travel speed, and presumably travel speed helps you in battle. It doesn't talk about combat speed. Maybe they're the same thing. Travel speed, combat speed. We're learning, right? And these ships are very similar. This ship looks like it's very slightly faster. I'll tell you for sure, one thing you want is speed, right? On the ocean, that's going to prevent you from getting grappled by a bunch of angry enemy forces. We're going to talk about naval tactics in, not this episode probably, but in this campaign. Now this looks like a savage boat, the Scythe of Men. They did a spectacular job with these ships. I can't wait to customize them. In fact, we're gonna buy some boats here. This money's burning a hole in my pocket. We got to get more ships because we got to carry more shit, right? We've got, I think it says 20,000 up there. It's a little tiny number. I'm going to encourage them to make those numbers bigger. Maybe on my high resolution monitor, it just looks tiny. We have plenty of room for the troops, but their giant sack of loot that is thrown over their shoulder, all the Vlandian loot that we've acquired, we can't fit it on our ships. It's literally falling off the decks into the ocean. Thousands of years from now, they'll be recovering it with scuba diving nerds. They'll get all our gold. Now here we're talking. Look at this, fellas. We can put on shields, right? Not only does it give you real-time protection, but it looks like what it does is it gives you bonuses that affect either auto-resolve or actual battles. So let's see here. It looks like that's the best one. And money's no object because this is going to be my flagship, the Scythe of Men. 106 troops on it. We're going to put 106 savage troops on this ship. And we're going to just upgrade the shit out of this. I got 80,000. Let's see. Quivers. So you can only choose one of these, it looks like. So only one of all these different things. So either more seaworthiness, we can basically do arrows, or we can have more capacity, right? You can do a storm cover, and you can store additional shit. We're definitely all about having combat ability, right? In reality, I don't care that much about money. We're going to be printing money in this campaign. What I want is ammunition, which is going to lead into one of the major precepts I have about naval combat. You might have already seen a video or two on it. I think ranged units are going to dominate, in particular javelins, short range, which is great because that's basically one of the fortes on the channel. I know more about throwing weapons and javelins than just about anybody. Probably not Strat Gaming Guide, but everybody else. I don't have a man crush, if you're curious. The respect is appropriate for Strat. He's the man when it comes to Bannerlord, just to nail in the coffin on that subject. Go watch his videos, you'll understand why. All right, so we have a huge capacity of troops. We got to sell some shit, right? Which is part of the reason I'm not worried about money. We're basically going to tote all this loot around. See, we also got to get some NORDs. I came up here, obviously, to get NORDs. It's going to be a while till we can expand our army size, but we got to sell a bunch of loot. I've got all kinds of loot that we've got to turn into gold, right? We need dinars, something fierce, because we need more boats. I imagine we're going to get to 6, 7, 8 boats pretty quick here. because we're going to need it, right? We're basically going to have 20 pirates on each boat and heaps of loot until we at least become a mercenary or vassal. And that is a goal, right? We're going to have to just dump food here. I'm still way encumbered. I got 2 numbers there. The top number, let's see. The bottom number looks like ships, 8,000. All right. Looks like we're good, right? 7,000. Seems good. Seems like both numbers are good. Looks like we're very slightly encumbered. We got a huge pile of gold. And so we're slightly encumbered, but 3.2 speed, I think that's acceptable, right? So let's see what kind of loot they got here in the store, right? A lot of these, they got tier 6 throwing axes. Yes, please. And this might be the answer to throwing axes being trash on the channel, just like cavalry, heavy cavalry, spear cavalry. We've been trashing throwing axes. This money's burning a hole in my pocket. Berserker reinforced cloak. We're just gonna buy some shit. This is like now I understand the nerds who go into Louis Vuitton and spend 10 paychecks on like some silk and shit like that. This is all new to me, but it's also practical, right? Getting really high-end equipment for this force. We're going to be an elite Delta Force army for a little while because I got to find the king to swear fealty and be a vassal. We want to be a vassal. That way we can make a bigger army, right? We can call other forces to us. We can roll around with a big ship. And look at this shit, right? Legendary arrows. Every single time you see legendary arrows, like tier 3, tier 2, buy them all, right? You're going to have archers. You're going to want to make sure you have a stash of legendary shit to dump on them. And look at this, right? It says we owe 40,000, 30,000, 20,000. I bet they're going to owe us money, right? We're going in, we bring a bunch of carts. You could picture a bunch of big, strong Viking dudes with wheelbarrows just bringing it in and just unloading all this shit. And they're like, it kind of smells like, yeah, it's Vlandia. We killed a bunch of Vlandians. And they're like, oh, good job. That extra 10% cost, or we'll give you 10% more on all this because it's Vlandian. Nicely done. And, you know, we're basically going to empty every store we see, right? Now, we have a herding penalty because, again, we have all these stinky Vlandian horses, which is affecting our cargo capacity. It looks good, though, right? Like, we think we've evened stuff out. We've got plenty of food, right? Our troops are not going to get scurvy. They got wine. Actually, wine only helps a little bit against scurvy. We need some fruit in the game. Otherwise, there's going to be scurvy. I think Terra Worlds addressed that, and disease is not going to be part of the game, at least not right now. That's not the plan. I think that would be way too hard for most people to manage, although they could just make it as simple as you got to have, you know, some fruit. By the way, you young guys out there, make sure you're eating some fruit. Not fruit juice, fruit. Eat fruit. I'm telling you, man, as an old guy, eat healthy. You don't want to age and just turn into a... anyways, another time. Here's our king, Halfdar, and we've never seen him before. He's got some nice stats, so... The Nords look great. They basically look like meaner sturgeons. Now, we need some Nord troops, too, right? We've got... Our army stinks of Vlandia, right? We were in Vlandia for like, I don't know, 2-3 months, 2-3 seasons. So we need to dump some of these troops here. We're simply going to dismiss these guys. They will be robbed and mugged and probably murdered as soon as they leave the city walls here. We don't give a shit. They've served their purpose. Someone just died in childbirth. Now, that's going to fall. Ormondfart is going to fall, right? Because we can't get there. And the Nords seem somewhat incompetent early on here. I do wonder about that. And I was kind of a believer that they would make the tier 6 units overpowered, their infantry, for 2 reasons. First, it's an expansion, focusing on the Nords. You don't really want to make an expansion, right? And then have a bunch of weak bitches Nords that just go down like a $5 hooker and just crumple, right? They should be really tough in combat. Otherwise, it just seems kind of strange. You know, it's much ado about nothing. But because they don't have cavalry, you know, they're really going to suffer in AI-led battles, right? This is part of the problem with Britannia when it comes to the campaign map, right? If you're not part of Britannia, usually they get swallowed up pretty fierce because their cavalry sucks and they typically don't have a lot of cavalry. And they're fighting the Sturgeons, and the Vlandians have tons of cavalry and roll through. On the field, the Britannians do great, but in AI-resolved battles, cavalry get an advantage for some reason. I'm not really sure why they did that. Why would they get an advantage in auto resolve and infantry doesn't? Maybe someone can explain that to me. Under certain conditions, if it's in the field, if it's in the forest, your archers and infantry should have an advantage. Anyways, we'll get off our soapbox here. As you can tell, I'm caffeinated. How cool is this? I was what's this anchor here at Havalvik? This is our ships. They're just sitting there in the city. And I swear they're not paying me to say this shit. This expansion pack so far is fantastic, right? We're not going to do ratings, and we're actually forbidden for putting out a score, but I'm allowed to say superlatives. They're slipping out, Tail Worlds. Don't get mad at me. Look at that shit. They just went on shore. Now, I do wonder about some logistics. Does that mean... Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Ship logistics. Let's look at this castle. I'm scouting out defensive locations, right? Because, of course, as a vassal, I want a home, right? We're already starting to eyeball some of the Norse women. We're bitch slapping the guards here just so they know what's up, right? You walk right up to them. You don't say anything. You look them straight in the eye, and you backhand them while you maintain eye contact. Then you nod your head. You give the guy a little fist bump, and you move on, right? That's the ultimate power trip as a Nord. He knows immediately two things. You're an alpha male. You're here to dominate. I guess three things. You're here to dominate, and you're also his friend, right? You've established monkey communication with any kind of human being. Now, so gathering near Ustokol Castle, does that mean that they're going to do a land campaign? I don't know, right? If they have a boat, I presume they would go around. So maybe we're fighting the sturgeons? I don't know. It seems kind of strange. All right. Let's set sail. All right. I thought it said 3.2 speed. Overburdened. We're overburdened still. See here. Okay. Weight on land. Mounts and pack animals. So it looks like somehow I'm confused about something, but for whatever reason, we need more boats, which is fine because it's burning a hole in my pocket. You can get a problem with the ships. Basically, if you have too many ships and not enough people to staff them, you get a penalty, and maybe that's what's happening here. Of course, I'm allowed to be ignorant here. This is our first playthrough. I know nothing about this. It's not like they gave us a big, long handbook. Tail Worlds is kind of famous for saying, here it is. Good luck, right? And part of that is fun to explore, right? Some guys are definitively not watching this playthrough because they want to experience it on their own. And I totally respect that. On some level, you know, I'm just playing and exploring, and I just say what I think. Now, I want some cogs. I think they have different types. You see, it says Drakkar, longship, light longship. That doesn't mean anything to me right now. Just like Spanish words don't mean anything to English-speaking people. All I know is that helped. We picked up some cogs. I think a cog basically is like a pack animal ship, right? It's a ship designed to carry shit and not fight so much. Obviously, they're capable of fighting. We will definitely, over the course of a longer campaign, I don't know, maybe not this one, we'll talk about, medieval ship warfare, right? I've done quite a bit of studying both for this campaign, but also prior to it, just as a fan of history. And your Marines, right? Your merchant Marines, your civilians were just as involved in often cases as piracy and war at sea than the military forces. Now the storms don't seem to move a lot, and maybe they don't move at all. It might just be my imagination, but I want to join this other Nord force. It looks like they're on land. If they're on land, we'll fight with them on land, and we're moving faster now that we're in the open sea. It just has a great feel, and I'm sure some of this will wear off. I hope they call their ships and get back in the water, right? I want to go raiding and sailing and shit with a big Norse fleet, but maybe we're going to invade via land. I don't know. I hear they're moving. Traveling to Tirby to besiege. There's no question they're coming. I wonder if they're coming down this little chute. You see that little chute? It kind of looks like a little avalanche chute. They are. This is fucking fantastic. I want to watch them up close morph from, you know, a little army on the sea. There's no ships here, so they must just, the AI, in order to make this work, the AI must just somehow be able to teleport their ships, which is maybe not super realistic. I don't think you can do that. Maybe you can. I could be wrong. Maybe you just call your ships to the, and they appear. They didn't like move on the map independently. They just appeared there, but who cares? Look how badass this is, right? We can join their army, and we have a fucking armada. We're coming for you, Vlandia. And I got chills. This is fucking awesome. Now, I want a Vlandian force to loom up, but like I said, I think naval battles are going to be rare. And I saw this shit on TV. I've learned this from human psychology. I'm supposed to do this, right, to keep you guys engaged. We're going to break it off right here. Invasion of Vlandia with a large Nordic force. We're going to fight with the army sometimes, as long as they don't do stupid shit. That comes next episode. If you want to see more from this series, you want to subscribe, of course, please hit that like button. And if you can find the hype button, hit that as well. I appreciate you fellas. We're going to do some raiding. It's going to be gnarly. And I will see you friends next time.